Hi, warriors. Welcome to your day one class, Yoga Fit for Warriors workshop. I love it. This is one of my favorite classes to teach. It's where we start to turn on these different systems of awareness in the body. This class is focused on understanding some of the key principles of the trauma-informed yoga class. They're body-based, right, as we need them to be, but more importantly, we want to get past just like physical muscle and bone cueing. We want to start to cue these systems of awareness, and you want to start thinking senses, and not just the ones that we focus on up here, the five main senses. Of course, touch is really powerful. Of all the five, I'd say that's really powerful, but also this other systems we don't think of awareness in the senses, proprioception, right? And that's where our bodies are in space, relative to space. So I'm doing this movement on purpose. That's a lot of in our joints, and especially in our feet and ankles. The idea of the vestibular system, where we are in relation to gravity. So I'll cue gravity a lot, because when we get disassociated, when we move into those states of mobilization for defense, fight, flight, freeze, we actually leave the body in some ways, right? We sort of leave our faculty or leave our senses. We're trying to turn those systems back on, right? This idea of re-embodying, coming back into the body when it feels safe. So safety is a big thing here, you know, and so finding safety in this vessel, this vehicle that we're in. So a lot of that kind of cueing, you'll just notice that I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. Make sure you have your space carved out for you. Make sure you have at least one block or two blocks. We're going to actually start on our backs. It's called constructive rest posture. I'm going to have music playing. I'm about to start it here separately, but I don't have it coming through the feed just because it's just too discombobulating. So I'll give you that Spotify playlist, right? So you can play it at home, or you can do it in silence. I do talk a lot, right? I'm trying to inform our practice. I give a lot of cues and then a lot of this sort of embodied knowledge. So as we're moving, it's not just the movement, it's the state of being we're in. And how can we cultivate and craft this enhanced, greater sense of awareness while we're moving, right? So just keep that in mind as we're moving. It's not about where the bones, the muscles are in space, but where are you, right? You. Focusing a lot on the belly and the heart as other brains in our bodies, right? Again, turning those on. So it's an awesome class, so much fun. Let's just go ahead and get started. We're gonna be on our backs, knees bent, feet flat. And let's just see if we can start with our breath. That's always where we start in our yoga practice, right? The breath is the instrument of awareness, right? And the more we can cue that instrument of awareness, the better off that we're going to be. I'm just turning my music down here for just a second so it's not too distracting. So let's bring our hands here into the air for just a second, turn on the proprioception system. We're gonna roll our wrists around, open, close our hands, wiggle our fingers. Feels good anyway, right? Really squeeze, 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 and then open up. And then hands wide onto the belly somewhere. If it's uncomfortable to the side for your shoulders, just bring one hand on top of the other, wherever feels comfortable. And let's just notice how our breath is in the body, right? Let's just notice the breath as it comes in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe the breath, the quality of the breath, especially when we first start, maybe it's a little ragged. Maybe it's a little shallow in the chest. That's where mine is right now. I'm trying to encourage it to extend down into the belly. We want to think of the belly as the ocean, right? That's the ocean of our practice. The pelvic floor and the legs are kind of the bottom of the ocean, right? Those tectonic plates in the ocean. Really important. Or I'll also cue them as like the garden, the soil we're trying to tend in our own garden. So it's that deeper approach to our practice and grounding and anchoring, tethering our practice lower in the body. And so as we continue to find the breath here, let's just notice how long our breaths are, our inhales and our exhales, without trying to manipulate what they are, just noticing. Of course, we're nostril breathing, but we might have, you know, it's springtime right now, we might have some allergies going on, or you may just not be feeling well. So breathe however you can, of course. Just allowing the breath to be however long it wants to be. So very important thing. When does yoga start? Well, the minute we bring our awareness to the breath. And awareness is really the primary physician. It's the big medicine we're trying to turn on. So heightened awareness, greater awareness equals greater healing potential. And so that's where it's at. We have to trust that the state of being of health and well-being is natural. And when we bring our awareness to those things that get in the way of it, which means the breath is really a useful instrument because it kind of tells us, right? Like a good diagnostic system. And it's like, what's really going on? What is the state of my being? What is the state of my union, right? State of union here. Finding a greater state of union with the breath. And so maybe we notice the breath however long it was. We're going to learn box breathing now. So we start with the inhale and the exhale, and however long it was. Now I'm going to cue a 4-4-4 box breath. And so a 4-4-4-4 box breath is really simple. We're going to inhale for a count of 4, and that's your count of 4. So inhaling for 4, pausing for 4, exhaling for a count of 4, and pausing for 4. Inhaling for 4, pausing for 4, exhaling for 4, pausing for 4. So continue at your own pace. The pause is where we have no breath. I don't like the word holding. You could say that word, but it's really a stillness of the breath. It's a place of no breath. It's a place of suspension of the breath, and it's actually a place of suspension of states of being, right? We are not an inhale, which is a sympathetic. We're not an exhale, which is parasympathetic. It's actually the change state happens there. So really focusing on that place of no breath is really powerful. But if it's too long and you start to gasp on either end, just shorten it, right? It doesn't have to be that amount. So continue to find that. Of course, we could extend that box breathing. So it could be an inhale for a count of 6, even up to 8, a pause for however long, and exhale. Now imagine we're drawing a box. So as we inhale, we're drawing a box up one side. As we pause, we're drawing the top of the box. As we exhale, we're drawing the box at the bottom. That's why it's called box breathing. Very soothing, very comforting. Now we add that imagery of the box. And then letting that breath practice go, just finding a natural, even rhythmic breath. I promise we're going to start to move. What we're doing here, there's something happening sort of behind the curtain, if you will, in constructive rest posture. We're allowing the body to be grounded. We're finding parasympathetic activation, even a little degree is very powerful. We're focusing on bringing our consciousness from our mind into our body. So all of that is happening. I know we're not moving, but things are moving, right? There's those subtle energetic shifts in the body, and we're starting to create the conditions for health and well-being, right? We're tilling the soil of our garden, if you will, planting good soil, lots of space, oxygen, nutrients. The final thing I'm going to ask us to do here is, before we start to move, keep one hand on the belly. Let's say our left hand, our right hand is going to come to our heart. And then I want us to think about these different energetic centers of the body as an ocean, a complete ocean. So bottom up processing, we go from the bottom here up to the mind. And the mind is like the top part of the ocean, as if you pop your head above the surface and you can either see choppy waters or calm waters. But to calm the waters down, you got to dive deep to see what's going on in those tectonic plates. So we start with the belly, so feeling the waters in the belly. Our belly is our primal brain. That is the primal, most ancient vagus nerve, which we'll learn polyvagal theory tomorrow. As we turn on the system of awareness in the belly through the vagus nerve, that is called interoception. That's another sense, a system of internal awareness, an internal sense of space and who I am. And it's really here in the gut. And so the vagus nerve comes and innervates everything into the gut, all the intestines, the lower heart, the lower lungs. Of course, we have the enteric nervous system through the digestion system, all the organs. So, and especially in the psoas, right? The vagus nerve, coming from the word vagabond, means to wander. And this oldest interoception system comes from jellyfish. So let's just drop into those deeper waters of self here in the belly. Notice the rise and fall of the belly, allowing the exhale to extend longer. Think about dropping an anchor, right? Down deep into the belly, those deep waters there. Tethering our practice first and foremost in the belly, in the ancient vagus nerve. Then we're going to go up to the hand, to the heart. And so the heart, and there are rhythms there in the heart. And so see if we can find the heart rhythms. Of course, we have the heartbeat itself. We have the electrical system around the heart, and it's intimately tied, of course, to our nervous system. So you can't really separate those two. And we put those together with something called heart rate variability, which you learn about in another workshop, our emotional and physical trauma workshop, HRV. But just know that there is an awareness here. This I like to think of as really the most advanced system of awareness we have in the heart, but it doesn't speak in a language like the brain. It speaks its own language, and the language it speaks in is feelings. How are we feeling these days, right? Maybe a little anxious, who wouldn't be? Maybe a little tired, concerned, maybe we have heavy heart, tightness in our chest. That's normal. The body is always talking to us, and the language it speaks to and feeling, we're going to learn to listen to that and just be honest. Where are we right now? What are the rhythms of my heart trying to tell? And then there's a really powerful thing here. If we can just really feel this union of these two big waterways, these bodies of water, these bodies of awareness in the belly and the heart, these two really unique kind of brains, right? That these operating systems that are so powerful, just turning those on, feeling those rhythms come together like two different waterways, right? Two rivers coming together to make one smooth, powerful stream of awareness. And from there, we're going to float our hand from our belly up to our head finally. And so hand to heart, hand to belly. And now we go above to the surface of the ocean. We go to those waters and notice, what's the status here? Are the waters calm? Maybe it's kind of a smooth, lulling wave system there. Maybe they're still choppy. That's okay. That's what movement is for. We can move into a greater place of stillness. We'll get there. Just be honest again. And so these waters, these brainwave states, and we can measure those, by the way, they're intimately tied to what's happening in our nervous system, cardiovascular rhythms, digestive rhythms, circadian rhythms. You know, the master organizer for all these rhythms in the body is the breath, turning our awareness to the breath. It's the master orchestra conductor, the great synthesizer, synchronizer of not just our practice, but our whole lives. Trusting in the breath and trusting that it knows a better way, a smoother way, an easier path in the middle of the stream. Finding that today, very powerful. And we find it, guess what? We could guide others to that stream. It's there in them too, right? And then let's go ahead and release. Let's go ahead and find awareness to our feet. And you can have your hands, arms anywhere that you want. And so I like to just kind of squinch the mat up with the feet as if I'm picking up a rag with my feet, right? Towel with my feet. Maybe really squeeze the toes, squeeze everything in, fan the toes, fan awareness, and then lifting the feet up, keeping the heels pressed, and then intentionally place the feet down really heavy with lots of awareness. And now let's lift the heels of the feet up. Right, feel the soles press down and then press the feet flat again. And then let's go ahead and open up the knees here a little bit, come on the outer feet. Just feel that difference when you come to the outer part of the feet. And then back through center, feel the feet heavy, and then bring a little knock knee, maybe hard to do. Outer feet lift up and then back down. Then we're gonna go ahead and lift one knee up, hugging one knee into our chest. Let's roll the right ankle around. So tons of proprioception in our ankles, turning that system of awareness on. Just go the other direction, point, flex the feet, and then keeping the right knee hugged in for just a minute. Let's just feel this heaviness through the right side of the body. Grounding through the shoulders, relaxing and softening through the neck, the jaws, the face. More back body awareness, feeling the connection points to the mat. And let's just take slow hip circles here. Nice and slow, should feel super good. Churning those energetic waters of our hips. Churning and turning just like we would stir cookie dough batter. Lots of baking going on in my house. My daughter's a baker. Yay! I'm not a baker, but she loves it. Something very comforting and calming about that baking process here. We're kind of cooking ourselves different, aren't we? And then right knee hugs in, shoulders nice and relaxed. Make sure the head can turn side to side. Now we're going to go through the Psoas awakening on the left side. We're going to extend the left leg nice and long. So when I cue, it's going to hover, but for now, let's just keep it laying onto the mat if you can. Point, flex the foot, roll the left ankle around both directions, squeeze open the toes. All right, now, this is the deal. We're gonna lift this left leg up. It's gonna kind of hover into the air. We're gonna what's called floint the foot, which means it's somewhere between flex and point, right? Reaching through the ball of the left foot with a lot of awareness. Now here's the deal. You might already feel your tension coming into your shoulders, your neck, your jaws, your face. That's what I'm gonna keep constantly cueing us to notice. Heat rises, our tension patterns go there. So let's see if we can keep that space clear. When you feel that happening, then just bring awareness and breath there to see if you can come out of it. That's the drill we're in. Now, the left leg is hovering just a couple of inches off the mat. Imaginary strings attached to the inner left thigh. So we're gonna slowly lift and lower the left leg here. Nice and slow. So we're actually right off the bat here in our class, gonna try to fatigue the psoas line. Now the psoas, I know, is up here on either side of the spine. I get it. But there's a lower psoas line. And that's just for efficiency, right? I can't name every muscle as we go down, but you can feel it right away, right? It comes down from the iliacus and the pelvic floor, that muscle that holds the pelvic bone together, comes up like a submarine. Only place it really surfaces this awareness, and that's an awareness there in the psoas, right, is in the hip flexor, right? It comes down, wraps around, and inserts right deep into the inner thigh past the adductor. That's the lower psoas line. And it might already start to feel fatigued. I know mine is. So now my shoulders hunching in. Yep, mine do right away. What's happening behind my heart? What about the base of the neck? The sides of the neck. And so can we stay calm here as we're poking that tiger, as Dr. Levine calls it? That's really powerful. You have to go slow. If we go too high, the quadricep will start to engage. And then let's pause. We're going to flex the foot now, reach to the left heel. Again, reset so we can notice those patterns when they arise. We're going to turn the left leg from the hip. Inner left leg turns up to the ceiling. So we're turning the toes out to the 9 o'clock position if there was a clock below our feet. And then we're going to slide the left leg out a little bit, continuing to find a nice deep belly breath, bringing it back in and turning the toes, fan the toes, lengthen through the hip flexor. Slowly turn the inner thigh. Again, notice, is heat rising? Where is it going? Sliding it out, bringing it back in and turning the toes. One more time. Remember, the whole point here is not to do some weird hip exercise, right? Who cares? We're actually trying to turn on that deep system of awareness to the psoas. And then finally, we're going to set the left heel down and we're going to slowly drag it onto the mat as we bend the knee. Now we got to go slow. I know we could do this super fast. And that's the point. You could do this movement big and fast. Those are old patterns of movement. Once the heel comes in, we're going to send it right back out. It's going to catch on the mat. It's okay. That's not a big deal. Slowly pressing it away. Nice deep breath again. Scanning the body for signs of tension anywhere. We're going to drag it in and out 2 more times. Go super slow. So it might feel, I always say I compare it to like a baby giraffe learning to walk. So cute. I'd love to see a baby giraffe right now. Any kind of baby animal picture, send them my way, right? Or just babies. And then sending it out. Now, here we go. What's happening? Not just in the shoulders, the neck, the jaws, the face, the eyes. What's happening in your low belly? What's happening in your low back? We compensate. We start to compensate our movement patterns there. And we then also can start to record. And we record big mobilizing defense movement patterns there. We call those implicit program movements. Now, once you finish that last one, that's the second one, we're going to bring the left knee into the body. And just take a little test here of the nervous system. So with the legs, knees together, let's just start by slow circles. Before we switch sides, we kind of want to calm the tiger down. We poked it pretty good, right? It's like, that was irritating. It was meant to be irritating. Let's go around the opposite way, calming the sacrum, the central nervous system, all that connective tissue ligaments around there. And then now we do this little test of the nervous system, right? Test of your emergency broadcast system. We're going to slowly take knees in opposite circles to one another, super slow. As we feel heavy through the back of the pelvis, relax through the belly. So like 2 figure skaters skating opposite each other. Now, if you got one direction, just for fun, we'll go the other. If you didn't, go back to those knees together circles to calm the tiger down. So when we move in a mobilized state of defense, fight, flight, freeze, we move with one hip, right? The hip flexors pull in super tight. The femur bone pulls in super tight into the hip sockets to make us more efficient at fight, flight, or even freeze. So here, if we can do this, this means we're not in fight, flight, freeze, that we're in parasympathetic. So we're actually trying to tame the tiger. And so it's a tame tiger, yeah. So we can move both in sympathetic and parasympathetic at the same time, and not just in that reactive sympathetic. All right, let's go to the other side. So left knee hugs in, right leg nice and long. Remember, we're gonna point flex the right foot. In fact, we could do both ankles. Why not? Point flex the feet, squeeze open, turning on the systems of awareness, proprioception, right? I'm gonna keep repeating that. Reaching through the ball of the right foot, reaching long through the hip socket. And then imaginary strength attached to the other thigh, lift and lower, nice and slow. If we go fast, that's big pre-programmed implicit program movement patterns. Those are our old habits and patterns, systems of defense in the body. We are trying to go back and reprogram ourselves. We're trying to go back to that organic original programming. You know, and that happens really from age 0 to 7. That's the whole big thing on epigenetics, and also just we're in record only, record only, yeah, I'm gonna move on from that pause. You know, it's where we learn to crawl, where we learn to walk, where we learn to even ride a bike. That's stored in the deeper parts of the brain, the reptilian parts of the brain, right? The cerebellum. And it tells us how to move without us having to think about it. That's a very useful thing. We don't want to wake up every day and have to like learn to walk again. That would be painful. And so we need that. But you know what it also records, especially if we were in a state of defense for most of those years, even neglect is a strong one of defense. Oh, wow. So that's tough. We have to go back and try to reprogram that. If you go fast, you can't do it. You can't get there from here. We got to go slow. All right. I know we poked the tiger pretty good on the right side. We're going to pause and we're going to turn the leg open to the ceiling. Now we slide it out to what? The 3 o'clock position. Yeah, everybody's like, we don't look at those kind of clocks anymore, Shay. I know. All right. Turning the toes to the ceiling to the 12. Shoulders, neck relaxed. Remember, we're not just poking the tiger to irritate it so it attacks us. We're trying to discover what does it do to defend us when the going gets tough. So we use sympathetic that way in our practice. In a trauma-informed yoga practice, we're intentionally turning on sympathetic to find those patterns so we can what? Learn to reprogram how we move through life, not just in that autopilot, those old habits and patterns. All right, we're going to set the right heel down. Final exercise this side. Hang with me. This class gets a lot easier, a lot better. We got to turn that tiger on though. We're going to slide the heel in and out. Again, slow as you go, super slow. It doesn't matter if the heel catches on the way out. Yeah, again, the whole point is getting past this idea of we just somehow move the muscles and bones in a certain way, we're going to get this health outcome. Well, that's bogus. There's just nothing that says that ever, right? Most of the studies on yoga are done and shown the power of the breath, the power of the breath, the power of turning on the nervous system a certain way. And the mind, what's happening in the mind, the waters of the mind. So here we're trying to irritate that tiger so it can show us, reveal its secrets of what it does unconsciously. No, it's not a bad thing what it does for us. When we need it, it's going to be there. You don't have to train your sympathetic, right? But so many of us are training our sympathetic nervous system. Trust me, that tiger is pretty strong and powerful. You don't have to train it. It's kind of like, I'll save that analogy for later. I have a good analogy there. Hopefully I'll remember it as we practice. All right, so now releasing, oh my gosh. Now we're gonna do this parasympathetic turn on, and we wanna contrast in our practice a good trauma informed from sympathetic to parasympathetic, right? So we can find that bigger middle path. So arms out to the side, nice and soft. Maybe draw the shoulder blades underneath. Head could easily turn, shoulders really relaxed. And then we're just gonna windshield wiper the legs side to side, the knees. Belly is where it's at here. Let's just notice what's happening in the belly. Can we keep the rib cage, the front of the shoulders nice and relaxed? The neck nice and soft and relaxed. Heavy through the back body. This idea of those legs moving like waves in the ocean, right? And then allowing the wave as it comes down to just crash. Don't try to control this movement on the way down. Just letting it be. Finding your breath. This should just feel comforting and calming. We need more of this in our practice, right? We need to train the parasympathetic. This needs to be what our life feels like, smooth and effortless, rhythm, filled with rhythm, focused on the breath, connected, aware, present, all those things we talked about with the essence of Yoga Fit, right? We practice that. That's an actual feeling. Such a subtle one though. We gotta learn to like it. Okay, we're gonna do another Psoas thing awareness. Not as hard as that first one, I promise. All right. So staying with the legs a little wide, let's lift our hips up a little bit. We're gonna swing them over to the right and we're gonna come on the outer left hip. And you can adjust how this is for you. We're gonna lift the right arm up anyway, so that probably feels better. Left leg, outer leg is to the earth, the right knee is hanging. Let's take our palm of our right hand. Again, Psoas awareness class, hang with me. We're gonna use this awareness in a minute. So we're gonna take the palm of the right hand and trace a line, I call it our haunches. Yeah, I know I compared us to cows, it's okay. So the haunches, so it's from the inner hip to the outer hip. What I want us to do here, we're not just massaging because it feels good, because it does, but notice there's different awareness, right, to the inner hip and to the outer, to the sympathetic. So kind of parasympathetic, sympathetic, Atlantic, Pacific. I mean, not to judge the oceans, of course. And so we need both, and we need them to be there when we need them to be there. But we don't have to train sympathetic. We really want to train this parasympathetic, and we want to learn to listen to the body and learn the language of the body. We get a lot of information from this psoas line, the lower psoas line. Remember, I know it changes name, but the iliac is here. It's lots of that tender underbelly, right, where we hold those stored programs of emotions and disconnection and fight, flight, freeze, all that stuff we're talking about. So let's just notice the hips can provide a lot of that information. which is why we like a hip focus in our class. Then we're gonna bring the right arm overhead. We're gonna press the inner right thigh down. Now we're gonna explore that deep line. And it starts at the inner right thigh, wraps around the right thigh bone, comes up. Remember, it surfaces like a submarine to the top. Here it is, the hip flexor. Dives deep into the iliacus, up along the right side of the spine. I imagine it like a breathing tube on the right side of my spine, up behind my shoulder. Even ends actually at the mastoid process, right in my jaw. And then we're gonna press the inner right thigh down. If you need more awareness, you press the left foot over the right thigh, left ankle. You don't have to. In fact, that's too much for me. So I'm just showing it, but you please do what you need to do. Choice, right? Make effective choices, take effective action. Inner right thigh presses down. We find this inner right thigh line across up through the hip flexor, up through the right side of the belly, deep on that breathing tube. Breathe it aware, turn it on. And then slowly release. We're just gonna switch sides. Again, taking our time. Let's go ahead and come over to the right. So you have to swing your hips over a little bit, right outer thigh. Take the left hand, the right arm can be alongside the body. And same thing on here, exploring our hunches, nice and slow. Again, just bringing awareness more fully to the front of our computer screen of our mind. You know, noticing that the body is storing a lot of information for us. And it's our job to just start to listen to it very carefully. Keep finding your breath, noticing the different energetic material on the inside of the hip to the outer. Then when you're ready, left arm overhead, pressing the inner left thigh down, finding that line from the inner left thigh up through the hip, down deep in the pelvic floor, up through the left side of the spine, wraps around, comes behind the left side of the heart, up to the jawline. Again, I'm going to cue that awareness. So I'll call it the lower psoas line and the upper psoas line. And we have a right and left, right? So just notice those are going to be my cues. This is the line we're trying to find. It's like a beautiful emotional vine that wraps around deep to the bone, up through the whole body, really organizes us. This is the thing that's organizing us from the inside out, right? Those emotional lines. Let's see if we can find more space. And then coming back through center. Now we're going to take the block. Let's go ahead and take it between the thighs. Finding the palms of the hands. Let's go ahead and find the hands right above the hip bones. I use the hands a lot. They're useful tools of awareness. They take up a lot of space in the mind, the sensory motor cortex of the mind, the parietal lobes. Talk more about that. But the palms of the hands are going to come right at the crest of the hip bones, sliding across, going into the hip creases. And just alternate. Let's just press the right hand into the right thigh as we press the right foot away. Relax the shoulder, relax the hip, settle to the sacrum, and then pressing the left thigh away gently. So you might start to feel this sort of turning, churning, right? That tilling of the soil in the pelvic floor here. And then just alternate kneading hand to leg, pressing the mat away gently, creating space and awareness deep in the hips, deep in the pelvic floor and around the sacrum, all those connective tissues and ligaments turning on there. Then those are deep emotional tectonic plates of us, the soil of the garden that we will till and then get to tend later as we plant new seeds of awareness there. And then we're going to press our hands into our thighs as we press the mat away with our feet. Imagine roots, tendrils, right? Those deep root system from our feet down into the earth. There's a waterway 2 inches below our feet. We're trying to find that here. All right, now we're going to start to lift the hips up a little bit. I don't care where the arms are, palms open or down. It's fine, just wherever's comfortable for the neck. Adjust your feet in or out to support the knees. If we feel this in our knees, we need to probably walk that out a little bit. We're going to think about coming up into a neutral bridge. We can still see the tops of the thighs, but you can be as low as feels comfortable for you, even on the mat here, right? We can do this whole thing on the mat. So we're going to think about pressing the block down. As we press down through the feet, we feel this lift through the legs. So we do want strong legs. This is where we're pushing that sympathetic, right? Just like we push the gas pedal in our car. But at the same time, we also want to find the brake here. Yeah, I know that's, you wouldn't want to do that in the car for real. That would be bad, but here we want both systems turned on. So here is the parasympathetic in our belly. Let's turn it on. If you can, come up onto the triceps, clear the neck, thumbs relax, wiggle the fingers, and then fan the hands wide onto the sides of the belly. Thumbs towards the rib cage, pinky fingers towards the hip bones. Find the deep oxygen lines right next to the spine and breathe the belly softly aware to the side. So deep belly breathing, that's the trick. This is the big reveal right now. Can you stay present, soft, relaxed in the belly, jellyfish breathing in those deep primal waters here in the belly, strong, calm strength through the legs, relaxed, blossoming feeling through the chest, the neck, the face. If you can do that, you don't need to continue on, right? You've mastered this. This is very challenging for most people to do. So again, we're trying to reorganize ourselves and reprogram ourselves. This is a powerful posture to do that. Now we're going to release the arms again, out like a V, palms open. I like that, keeps my chest, my neck nice and clear. Here's the cool part. We're going to think about our spine and we're going to lay it down just like a ribbon onto the mat. Nice and slow. Enjoying the ride down. Should feel awesome when we get there. Okay, one more thing. Hang with me here. We're really turning on that psoas line, right? Remember, it starts deep in the inner thighs. You can feel that there. So let's go ahead and bring the block, stays right between the thighs. It's in the belly of the thighs, by the way, not between the knees, in the belly of the thighs. We're gonna think, let's just let our legs dangle for just a second. Just relax here, breathing deeply, finding the back of the body, finding the breath again. Remember, we wanna anchor our practice in our belly, drop the anchor of the breath deep into the belly. Okay, now let's go ahead and flex our feet, lifting our shins to parallel. So 90-degree angle, we're gonna actually point our feet and then intentionally flex our feet, really fan the toes. Palms of the hands, one more time. Let's find the thighs. We're gonna press hands to thighs, thighs to hands, as we gently press the block away. Feel that opening and strength and heaviness around the backside of the pelvis, the sacrum. Arms out to the side, thumbs nice and soft. Clear the neck. Again, this blossoming, this opening feeling here through the chest, the neck, the head. That's very important. Calm strength through the legs as we tick-tock the knees over to the right, as we maybe turn the head to the left. Keep the left shoulder relaxed though, especially right here at the crease of the left shoulder. Breathe deeply into the left heart wall. Relax that. Feet, knees stay parallel. Don't let them come together. Very commonly they do that. Are the thumbs tensing? Mine are a little bit. Let's come back through center. Heavy across the sacrum, reset. Take a big breath. As we exhale, we're going to twist the other way. Maybe the head turns the opposite way as the right shoulder stays relaxed. Elbows stay relaxed. Back of the heart stays soft. Feet and knees don't change distance, right? Same parallel relationship. Belly twisting. Inhale through center. We're not going very far. If you go too far, your shoulder's going to lift up. I guarantee it. Other way, nice and slow. Learning to move with sympathetic and parasympathetic turned on at the same time. Inhale through center as the belly is still breathing deeply and freely. Exhale the other way. I know it's challenging. Rest when you need to. Again, what's happening to the neck? Between the shoulder blades. Ooh, that's a sneaky one for me. Again, it's kind of like finding your poker tails. They get really tricky. Like, wait a minute, does his eye twitch? Yeah, his eye twitch. Totally lying. I don't know. All right, so we can fool ourselves pretty fast. Let's just release. Let's go ahead and move the block. Yay for that. Soles of the feet together, knees wide, butterfly. Palms of the hands one more time, right? Little trick here is do that alternating kneading thing, Kate and EAD, side to side. And just enjoying the sense of space and awareness. So a lot of focus here on the hips. So not tensing and tightening or even stretching it forward, right? That turns on that tiger, calming it, patting the back of the neck. The place the psoas line surfaces is at the hip flexor. And so that's a wonderful place. We can use that awareness here just to calm the tiger down. All right, let's just hug our knees to our chest. This should feel super good, either around the thighs, knees, whatever feels good. Keeping the low back melting into the earth. Take a big breath. Imagine breathing into your tail as if you had an animal tail. You could just breathe it long. It's the exhale. Let the breath drop. The anchor of the breath down into the belly. Feel the low back just gently imprint into the mat. One more big breath, inhaling. A nice big exhale. Slowly rolling over to all fours. So now we're finally coming differently with gravity with our spine. I'm just gonna get a little sip of water here, talking. I told you I talked a lot. All right, so let's find the block. Some of you know me and know that. All right, so let's go ahead and find the hands nice and wide. So grounding, right? We really, really strong grounding posture. Wonderful place to start. I almost start most of my classes exclusively from that place, and I'll explain some other reasons why I wouldn't, but that's a good place to start when in doubt in a trauma-informed class. All right, so now we turn the spine different with gravity, and we have a lot of freedom here to kind of till the soil a little bit more, especially around the areas of the spine, and that's where we're moving up to. And so let's find the webbing of the hand connecting, or hands connecting here. Of course, you guys know fist for wrist is always an option. Knuckles grounded, webbing of the hands grounded, and then check in with the neck. Anytime we peel the knuckles off the mat, it tends to go in the shoulders and the neck. So I'm going to cue grounding the hands a lot. That's really important. And the knees, just walk them back maybe a little wider than you normally would for a tabletop. We're going to rock forward and back here a little bit, just nice and slow. The focus is shifting awareness and weight with gravity. So feel the hands heavy, of course not too far forward for the wrists. And also making sure we don't unweight, and we practice being mindful that our hands tend to unweight and we kind of peel our knuckles off, especially when we move back. So just kind of notice that as you move back. What's happening in the knuckles, the webbing of the hands? Can you keep them grounded? Even though the pressure changes, it becomes less, still grounded, right? Nice and slow. All right, now pause through center. Can find center a little better there. Now we're gonna go east and west, right? We're gonna go right and left. Again, same thing. Feel the pressure change, but the hands stay grounded. Notice how that prevents tension, those patterns from coming into the neck, the shoulders, because when we get tense and we move into sympathetic, we actually become ungrounded, because that's where we're getting the information from the body that something hurts. And we just unplug. We just go, well, shoot, I'm out of here. It's adaptive when we need it. Right now it's not. We're going to turn it back on. So staying grounded. And then we're going to start to flow through cat and cow. So let's shift back that a little differently. We're going to shift back. Imagine between the palms of the hands or underneath that there's two mayonnaise jars. Bend the elbows, and then we're going to turn from the upper back. Those mayonnaise jars opposite each other as we bend the elbows. Draw the shoulder blades. Pull the mat back a little bit with the hands. Clear the chest, the neck, and then come forward into our cow. Right? We turn the sits bones up and apart. Keep the low belly active. Head could easily turn here. Right? If it can't, what can we do to clear the neck? Now we're going to shift back. We're going to turn the jars towards one another. Elbows loop out. Press through the hands. Shift more forward a little bit. Relax the neck more. Cheekbones really heavy to the eye socket. Floating back. Coming back in. Turn the mayonnaise jars opposite each other. Create a shelf with the arm. Bring the chest through. Clear the neck. Turtle-like neck. Like turtleneck. Exhale, let's float back into the cow. Loop the elbows. Maybe now hearing our cat, I should say, let's just kind of find lateral flexion. So as we alternate shifting the spine side to side, let the spine shift you. The spine, again, has incredible intelligence through it. It's an amazing piece of engineering, isn't it? And it doesn't need to be rod straight all the time. So let's see if we can find some creative movement patterns here as we shift the spine side to side in cat. All right, now we're going to put that together. Ponytail itching me here. We're going to put that together with cat and cow, but going east and west. So let the spine, we're in neutral, let the spine move on its own to the right, like it wants to find the right side. It's going, ooh, what's over here, the middle of the spine. Then let it drop down. We can even kind of let the arms do its own thing through cow, and then it comes over, swings over to the left. And then it continues this big loop-de-loop up and around through cat. And then just continue to flow. We're literally turning around our own axis, right? Super cool, this kind of churning, turning. Notice the limbs do whatever it takes to support this movement. Should feel super good. And then if you got one direction, just for fun, let's go the other direction. Are the hands ungrounded? Keep them grounded. Are we worried about what we look like? Don't. You're the only one doing this in the practice of your own home. That's beautiful, isn't it? Can we let the arms just do whatever they want to do? Cool. And then let's go ahead and rest. Let's bring the knees wide. Find your block, forehead to the block. Now, if this bothers you to come in child's pose this way, right, with the hips heavy, knees bent, even the ankles, right, that's a problem. You can just come like this, hips high, tuck the toes, forehead to the block, rock side to side. So we want to settle in here, right? I like the imagery of like a tree frog or a baby like curled up when they're in that tree frog kind of posture when they're first born. I love that. Same thing here. That's why it's called child's pose. Let's just rock forehead, or I should say temple to temple across the forehead. Nice and slow. And so we're going to find and explore where these tension patterns are in the body. And a lot of that is through these waterways of the myofascial connective tissue. And we have that strong one on the back body, that back line of tension. It actually ends here in the forehead. And that's why rubbing or rocking across there is super calming and also can free up that whole back body and include improving our posture. So just nice and slow, jaws relaxed, grounded feeling through the legs. Deep belly breathing. Can you feel the sides of the belly just gently rise and fall to the thighs? One more big breath. And then release. Let's go ahead and come up to all fours one more time. As we do so, we're just going to bring the right foot forward, coming to our kneeling lunge. This would be a great place to use your blocks, or just fingertips is fine as well. We're just going to rock forward and back nice and slow. Again, just exploring just a gentle movement here for the hips. So think about the focus now here. What would feel good for the hips? Just finding some gentle awareness of moving forward and back. Once you get that in the hip, now focus on grounding through the legs. So as you shift forward, the right leg feels heavier, right foot heavier. As we shift back, we can feel the movement like water flowing back. So we can feel those water patterns in the body, shifting forward, flowing back. Now I'm going to add in the Psoas awareness movement here in just a second. So the next time that we come forward, we're going to go ahead and take our right hand to our right thigh. You may just want to move the blocks to the side. Left hand is going to come back behind us. We're going to reach back and we're going to find this imaginary fisherman's net. So something really heavy in our mind's eye. Fisherman's net, right, is a good one. And we're going to actually drag it along the mat with our left hand. We're going to find this inner psoas line this way and cast it up. That's an inhale. And let's do that a couple more times. Exhale, feel the spine curl in, right? Give the spine some relief there. Let it be flexible. Inhale, casting, finding the left psoas line. One more time, exhaling, bringing it back. Again, dragging the fisherman's net, inhaling, pausing here. So as we feel grounded, can we distribute strength through both legs? Pressing to the top of the back foot. Feel free to pad something with your knee. As we find this nice deep psoas line, drive our awareness deep into that deep ocean of the belly. Right nestled to the left side of the spine is the oxygen tube. And so instead of pulling to find space to the left side, we want to breathe the left side nice and open. Again, can we breathe that left psoas line from the lower all the way up to the upper, more open and aware, less about what the limbs are doing. We start there to set this up like just a structure of a house, but then bring the house to life. One more deep breath. And then releasing. Left hand is going to come down, finding the block or finding the mat. I like to open up on the diagonal here to turn my legs even off the mat. And taking the right hand to the right thigh, just taking a gentle twist from the belly. Draw the shoulder by the ear, maybe clear the neck, and then finding just the right rib cage, the right heart wall. Breathe the right side nice and open. But really it's the exhale, letting it all go. Pouring the breath back into the spine to release. One more time, nice big breath. Exhaling, letting it go. Slowly coming back into alignment with the right foot, with the right hip, walking it maybe a little out, maybe finding the blocks. We're actually going to peel the right foot off the mat, fan the toes, breathe the right hip crease, the right hamstring nice and long, gently coming in, neck face, everything relaxed without forcing it. So hamstrings, right? We never want to force them. They're very useful teachers. You try to force them, they're going to resist on you. So instead of pulling or stretching, I don't even like that term. Instead, let's breathe them long, inhaling, length, but really it's the exhale, let it pour down like a waterfall down the right leg, letting it go. One more nice big breath. And releasing. We're going to actually do a shake here, which is one of my favorite things to do, the wet dog leg shake. We're going to test those deep waterways, right? Just like a dog does. And by the way, no one's looking at you. Who cares? I'm doing this on film. Okay, think about that. We're shaking it out. See my jaws? See what they do? It's like shaking a rope. You can see where the kinks are, where we're holding tension because the wiggle doesn't go all the way through. So practice it one more time. If you didn't get it, don't worry. Take some time. All right, let's float back into extended child's pose. Feel free to stay here. We're going to flow through a few vinyasas, just the half series, nothing big. You can also just do cat-cow. And I say just because it's powerful, just focusing on linking the movement to the breath. That's what we're doing here. Vinyasa flow helps to reorganize and resynchronize us. Inhaling to plank. Exhaling chaturanga, coming onto our bellies, slow and controlled. Inhaling gentle cobra, tethering our cobra from the low belly and the hips. Exhaling, find gravity. Find that heavy feeling to the floor. Hug the arms and press the knees down. Inhaling up through kneeling plank. Exhaling, extended child's pose. What are the hands doing? Maybe lift the 10 fingers, intentionally place the fingers back down. When you're ready, inhaling, the wave of the spine comes through into our kneeling plank. Exhaling, chaturanga. Linking movement to breath. Inhaling cobra, top of the feet, press. Exhaling, finding gravity. Same exhale presses us back up and into extended child's pose. One more time, or feel free to find child's pose or cat-cow. Inhaling into our plank. Exhaling, lowering with control. Inhaling, gentle heart throat opener. Exhaling calmly, calm strength lifts us back into extended child's pose. Again, maybe pausing here. When you're ready, we're going to bring the left foot forward. So just coming to our kneeling lunge on the other side. Again, heavy feeling, that scissoring feeling through both legs, but distribute the energy evenly. And grounding, so the feet, right? Really connecting with that sense of the earth. Taking our left hand to our left thigh, we're going to reach back with our right hand. Fisherman's net again, and we're going to cast it forward. Inhaling, finding that right line. Exhaling, just rowing the arm down, even trailing the fingers. Inhaling, casting our net. Casting our awareness wide. Exhaling, one last time. Inhaling, pausing here, melting the back of the neck. Find that deeper line of the body from the inner right thigh up through the right side. Oxygen tube right next to the spine. Use that to create space between the right rib cage and the right hip bone. Where are the tension patterns? We are pushing that sympathetic just a little bit. Not to practice being unsympathetic. Any old reptile can do that. We're humans. We have an extra system here. We'll talk about that more with polyvagal, but it requires us to be in parasympathetic to turn it on. One more big breath. Exhaling, let's go ahead and twist. Any kind of twist. I like that nonlinear twisting, diagonal. Left hand to the left thigh. Finding just the left lung, the left heart wall with our breath. Exhaling, finding a gentle twist. And again, breathing the spine long inhale. Exhaling, gently twisting. Inhaling, slowly walking the left foot back to center, shifting the hips back, maybe finding the blocks, your choice. Fanning the toes, we'll keep the left knee slightly bent, or really bent, up to you, right? Breathing the left hip crease long on the inhale, but remember it's the exhale. Letting it go. Using the breath to do this sort of emotional excavation work, right? You know, as we start to, dig deeper, you see all those beautiful lines, those the emotional time periods of our life start to become evident, and we come back and see them in historical vision accurately, right? Or maybe more clearly when we're in it. It's very difficult when we're mobilizing for defense, but now we see with greater awareness, we see the reason it happened, and we see its purpose in our life, maybe. And then we're going to take the left leg back again, doing that wet dog leg shake. Each side's different. Give it a try. Give it a shake out. So you just do a little shake. I like big shakes. Whoa. Left side's always easier for me. I don't know why. I do know why, actually. All right. Maybe shake it out. Woo. And then release. Child's pose. Any kind is great. Forehead to the block. Rocking if you want, or just resting. I like to now turn on this awareness in my mind a little bit more. And so as we find our awareness between our brows, I'm just turning my head so I can talk to you a little easier, but turning our awareness between the brows, about 2 inches into the forebrain. Now, drop a pin there. Drop a light there. Drop a pin of light, like a star in the night sky in your mind right there. And with every inhale and exhale, just start to notice it grows brighter and bigger in the mind. As we use this practice of imagery, and that is a simple practice, it is very powerful practice of imagery in the mind. We turn on those limbic systems in the mind, a deeper limbic system of the mind. This practice is actually called bhavana, right? Imagery practice, emotional imagery practice. So this feeling that there is a different map out there, and imagery is a very powerful map for the mind. And so we're going to start to harness that power of the mind just with the simple imagery of a star in the mind's eye, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. That's a very powerful one. So remember, we can always go back to that place and find that star in our own mind's eye, that guiding light, the North Star, that GPS unit. All right, when we're ready, let's go ahead and come up. We're going to come into our first downward facing dog. Easy one. We're just going to go ahead and keep the knees bent and just pedal the knees slowly side to side here. I like to just kind of pause and feel this idea of that I'm stretching carpet on the diagonal.
So again, super slow, heavy feeling through the limbs. And just pedaling this out. And then we're gonna pause. Let's go ahead and pause with the left leg straight with the right knee bent. We're gonna unweight the right foot. And by the way, you can do this from all fours, right? The whole thing, the whole cueing can be done from your knees if needed. Don't worry about that. So let's roll the right ankle around. Same thing, point flex the foot. And then let's bounce a little bit on the left leg. Chest is waterways. We should feel this sort of, movement like we're walking on water through the whole body. Right, even through the chest a little bit. And then left knee bend as well. We're gonna imagine pressing something super heavy like a dresser with our right foot up and overhead. Inner thighs act like a pair of scissors here. Hands stay grounded, that's the key. Reach, 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 press back through the legs. Wrap the armpits in, relax the neck of the head. And then exhale, let's come through our suspended runner's lunge, drawing the knee in. We're practicing calm strength here. Inhale, flex the foot, fan the toes, shift the weight back. Feel the weight shift back. Now straight through the right leg. Reach long as if I'm pulling your right foot way back from you. Neck relaxed though, face and jaws. Exhale, bringing it in. Again, nice and slow. Let's place the right foot forward between the hands. Left foot flatten at an angle. Coming up halfway, we're gonna do the same thing that we just did from the kneeling. Let's take the left hand to the inner left thigh and just gently encourage it to rotate back, making sure our knee feels good here. Front knee is bent. Left hand reaches back. Right hand roots down, shoulders relax. Finding that psoas line, casting the fisherman's net. Inhaling, 2 more times. Exhaling, feel the spine curl in, the legs stay grounded and strong. Inhaling, cast the net. Exhaling, coming back. Use the breath, maybe ujjayi breath. Inhaling, I'll explain what that is in a minute. So let's go ahead and do 2 things. Straighten the right leg. Find stability even through both legs. Take the right hand to the left wrist. Pull it long. So find this left psoas line, inner left thigh up to the left side of the spine, relaxing the shoulders. Keep this alignment, keep this awareness through the left side as we rebend the right knee and press to the outer left leg. I should say left foot, keeping the left leg straight. Maybe a little bit of lateral flexion. So really exploring, we can surely feel it here, from the inner left thigh up to the left hip, left side of the body. So consistently turning on those deeper emotional awareness lines in the body. 1 more big breath. Carefully releasing, option to bring the back knee down instead for this one. Or we're gonna pivot carefully into the sole of the left foot. We're gonna go ahead and bring the left hand down, find your block or fingertips. Right hand's gonna come right in front of our face here. Remember, we can bring the back knee down. Always an option, nothing wrong with that. I would do that, but I'm on video, so you know. Right hand, softly find your hand with your face. Drishti, undo that hard vision. And then we're gonna unfurl from here. Inhale, keeping the right thumb soft. Exhale, bring it in. It's like you're wrapping around a big beach ball here. Feel the shoulder blades expand. Inhale, fan and open. Thumb, neck, shoulders, face, jaws, everything soft. Exhale, bring it in. Maybe ujjayi breath, right? Darth Vader breathing, warrior's breath, ocean breath. Exhaling last time. Let's go ahead and take hands on either side. Right foot steps back to the left, downward dog. Option for extended child's pose. Option to pedal this out. Option to come down through cat-cow as your flow. Otherwise, inhaling plank, knees up or down. I'm gonna bring knees down. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhaling, finding the earth, triceps hugging in. Inhaling, kneeling plank. Exhaling, extended child's pose. Pause here for just a breath. Either block or stack the hands, pressing that beautiful place between the brows gently with our awareness. Find the North Star in your mind. Heavy legs. Side belly breathing. How fast can we push that reset button in the nervous system? Training our parasympathetic. When we're ready, downward dog again, just pedaling the legs out. Yeah. All right, so we think we got this feeling of grounding, right, through the limbs as a key element of a trauma-informed yoga class. We found vinyasa flow to be highly effective therapeutic because it starts to organize all those different rhythms, the biological rhythms of the body. Right, we're using our breath, ujjayi breath here. We're breathing as if breathing through 2 straws in our nose on the inhale. That hollow sound to the back of the throat turns on the vagus nerve or tunes the vagus nerve. So we're turning on parasympathetic, increasing awareness. We use a little bit of emotional imagery. Right leg now, shift our weight over. We can even rock left and right. I love to do that, hammock-like. And then hang out on the right side heavier, unweight the left foot. Same thing, rolling the ankle around, both directions, turning on proprioception, right? All those systems of awareness, vestibular, proprioception, we're upside down. Lots of vestibular in that one. And then pressing something heavy with the left foot as we scissor the legs, right? Calmly. What can we do calmly? It doesn't help if we're doing this all worked up. Bring the knees down. Exhale, slowly shifting forward. Scoop the belly, suspended runner's leg. Staying light with gravity. How light can you make yourself here? Can you turn your head still? Exhale, shifting back, or I should say inhale, shifting back. Left leg super straight, reaching long. Outer left hip rotates down, hips stay level. Fan the toes. Mind stays calm. Exhale, bring the knee in. It doesn't take much here. Doesn't take much sympathetic, right? We just got to practice staying calm. That one time is really powerful to reorganize. Left foot comes forward. I know you're like, would you say it, please? Right foot flat. Don't come up just yet. Keep your block handy. So we so focus on, if I just do 1,000 chaturangas, I don't know, but if you did them all in a state of sympathetic, have we gotten anywhere? That one time in parasympathetic, in that sympathetic state of activation of doing something with calm action, well, that's real powerful. Now we can find it again. That's a big map in the brain. Take our hands, speaking of maps, hands map in the brain. Inner right thigh spirals back, right hip bone forward, left knee bend. Right hand finds that fisherman's net. Inhale 3 times. And exhale, maybe add an ujjayi breath. Continue to flow. Last time. Pausing. Remember this, we're going to straighten the left leg. Find the left hand to the right wrist, again, pulling long. Align the pelvis neutral with gravity. So you feel, for most women, we got to pull the hip bones in, tailbone in a little bit. Most men, they got to stick out just a little bit. So a little different approach there. Breathing the right side of the spine nice and open. Let the spine breathe you. Let the spine breathe you. And then keeping this sensation, let's bend the left knee. Nothing else changed, right? Keeping the chest, the shoulders, the face nice and open and calm. That blossoming feeling. Nice big breath here. And then slowly release. Remember, option to bring the knee down. Left hand to the left hip. Pivot to the sole of the right. We're going to take our twist. Right hand to the block or the floor. Back knee can be down. Soft, undo our vision on our left hand. Inhale, just flowing open. Doesn't matter how high the arm reaches. That has nothing to do with anything. Just flow with your breath. Maybe ujjayi breath. Learn to enjoy how fluid, how graceful, how creative it feels. Trust the breath to find a different path. We're so tied to that sympathetic nervous system, that reptilian feeling in the body of tension, that we assume that's normal. That is not normal. That is abnormal. And then let's go ahead and find left hand on either side, left foot to the right, downward dog. Remember choices, cat cow or flow or child's pose. Inhaling to plank. Exhaling chaturanga. Inhaling gentle cobra. Exhaling, finding that calm strength all the way back into child's pose. Pausing here for just a breath. There's another practice in yoga. We call this sankalpa, or intention. And intention is a powerful reorganizer. I actually like the idea of a seed planting in our life, a new seed. And remember, the heart is its own quantum processor in our body, and it really speaks in that language of feeling. So let's start with a feeling there. Let's think about planting a seed in our garden that we just really tilled a lot, so it's ready for it. We're in that calm waters of the mind. Perfect opportunity to plant a new seed. And words like love, peace, compassion, understanding, gratitude, connection. And so finding that word that is resonating with you, plant it like a seed. And then say you are it, right? I am peace. I am love. I am connected. And that becomes what manifests, what blooms in our life. That's the very garden we will tend. It will be all around us. That will be just who we are. When we're ready, let's come back up. All fours, I should say, just come to all fours to our kneeling plank, because we're going to actually lower right onto our bellies. So as we come into our bellies, let's bring our hands wide off the mat, actually. And we're just going to rock right and left, nice and slow.
Just enjoying that feeling. I almost like to imagine we're kind of hanging out in the ocean on a paddleboard, left to right, nice and heavy. And then let's just start to swim here on our mat, side to side, or paddling, that feeling of paddling. And then see if you can surrender this movement to the spine. Can you make it snake-like feeling? Or can it just be that way? Because it can be if you let it. And the limbs just do what it wants to do. And what it wants to do the most is really explore space. Right? It seeks out this information. It's a sensory creature, if you will. And it says, ooh, what's over here? Ooh, what's over here? How much space can you take up? Move laterally, side to side, coast to coast on our mats. Notice even the hips, that fishy, swishy kind of movement back through our hips, down through our legs. Neck is relaxed, jaws are relaxed. Should just feel good. And then when we're ready, let's go ahead and stack hands, either forehead or cheek to our hands. Let's lift our knees, or I should say lift our feet, knees are bent. And then feel heavy through the thighs. Let's drop awareness into our belly. And then just simply rock side to side. Heavy feeling through the legs. So again, the belly, let's notice in the belly, deep in the pit of the belly, we might be holding on to unconscious tension there, gripping even. How much more can you let go of? We're trying to turn on those deep water lines in the body. There's a deep well there, a well that's been maybe dehydrated for a while. Maybe it got, holed over, cemented over. We just shut it down. Because remember, that's where the well of our feelings come from. The waterways for those feeling pathways in the body from deep in the gut. That's an old programming though. And so let's just be very gentle, compassionate with ourselves. What are we willing to feel again? Maybe just a subtle amount more. That's a big victory. Also through the sides of the belly here. Letting any rigidity through the sides, any container-like feeling in our belly. Let's see if we can let that go just a little bit more here. We're increasing that system of awareness in the belly, that interoception system, as opposed to proprioception, which is where our bodies are in space. This is where we are in our own space, in our bellies, right? Really powerful system of awareness in our gut. And then we're going to release our legs nice and long. Bring our hands on either side of the ribcage, wherever is comfortable. Let's intentionally draw the shoulders by the ears. And then as we pull the mat back with our hands, as we press to the top, or I should say press down through the knees, we pull the mat back. We clear the chest, the neck. We draw everything into the spine. We pull the low belly up, and then calm strength lifts us through our kneeling plank, back into extended child's pose, and right back into down dog. I'm just getting a sip of water here. So as we come to our down dog, same thing, we can just pedal our legs nice and slow. Again, that stretching the carpet on the diagonal feeling should feel good. Maybe even feeling this sort of rocking action. Now let's bend our knees. Remember the thing we did in cat cow? And by the way, you can have your knees down for this. Let's just take circles with our knees here in one direction. Now, we got that. Maybe we can start to get the whole body involved, right? Get the whole spine involved, the sort of wave-like function through the body. If you got one direction, let's just for fun, let's go the other direction. Why not? Testing those waterways of movement, those emotional lines turned on, and then we'll pause. Shifting weight back through both legs, feet heavy. Doesn't matter if the heels come to the ground at all. Knees stay bent, inner thighs spiral back. Breathing the hip bones nice and long, calm strength as we wrap the armpits into the body. Hands, knuckles, super grounded, webbing of the hands pressing. And then we're gonna go ahead and bring the right foot forward. I'm gonna turn around, you guys are good. Left foot parallel. So coming into more of a warrior two stance with our legs, but we're not gonna come all the way up just yet. Let's just come halfway. So right forearm to the right thigh. Remember what we did earlier with the arms. Let's take our left hand, explore our haunches again, right? We did at the beginning, different we here. So we tend to get congested energetically when we're stressed. We're like animals energetically, we just suck into our shell. I mean, our bodies are still here and they're holding this pattern of tension, but energetically we go, and especially through the sides of the hips. So remember, hands, useful tools. Palm of the hand to the left hip. Find that haunch, find your haunches and just gently explore it. Now, taking the left palm to the top, let's smooth the left hip away, right? Create space there as we create Pada Bandha, which is our foot lock, outer foot presses. Suction cup the floor with the left foot as the right hip pulls under, shoulder. Now we take this left arm. Let's take small circles around the left shoulder. Left arm is just kind of dangling there, right? Like it's just falling asleep. We're just moving from behind the heart. Now reach out. Now reach with the left arm straight out. Reach towards me. I'm reaching towards you. Hi. And then bring it in, right? Bend the elbow, kind of as if you're rowing something back behind. Feel this opening. Nice. And then slowly, let's reach it out again. Inhale, reach towards me. Exhale, bring it in, right? As we firm through the outer foot. Then opening up, right? Finding extended angle. Back of the head is in line with the sacrum. Maybe turning pinky side of the left hand overhead and reaching the fingertips overhead. We don't have to scoop the right hip crease, neck, head, everything relax. Thumb soft. And then slowly we're going to come through warrior two. We want to pull back through the left hand a little bit as we press the right knee forward. Now, my shoulders are right here by my neck. Okay, not great. So let's actually do that on purpose. Let's bring the shoulders in. In fact, kind of hunch the shoulders forward, turn the back of the hands towards me, and then imagine turning two doorknobs with your palms, your hands, and open up. Palms turn up, clear the chest. Beautiful. Now we're going to come into reverse warrior. More awareness to the back leg, reach forward, and then pinky side of the hand as we come to reverse warrior. Now, if you want, straighten through the front leg, give the leg a hip, a little release here, right? Gosh. Left hand finds the back of the thigh, pull long. Remember that breathing tube? Lateral flexion, that's that sideways bending ability. Not only do we get congested energetically in our sides of our hips, we do so also through the right side of the body, or I should say the sides of the body. So let's expand the side seams of our shirt with our breath, inhaling. Exhaling out, option, keep the front leg straight, but not locked out, slight bend. Coming through this beautiful plane of awareness here, and then coming into our triangle. Option, bring your block. Or just hand to the inside. You can even come back to extended angle. But we're gonna flow from here. Same thing that we did before in that lunge. Exhale, slowly coming forward. Inhale, flowing, blossoming the heart open. Thumb stays relaxed, jaw stays nice and relaxed. Exhale again, slowly, using the breath, finding Ujjayi breath. Inhale, opening. I'm just checking that my video is still going. Just you keep flowing. I'll be right back. And then exhale, let's go ahead and find our hands on either side of our legs. So we're going to bend the right knee. The video was just fine, by the way. Probably figured that out. Left sole of the left foot, coming onto that, coming back into our lunge, dropping the left knee down. Let's walk our right foot over. Hands are going to come to the inside of the right leg, allowing our head, our neck, our jaws to be nice and relaxed, heavy through the right foot. Nice big breath of awareness behind the heart into the side walls of the heart chamber. Allowing the exhale, especially to bring us to this place of grounding as we drop in. Of course, you could bring your forearms down, right foot heavy. And then let's just find some kind of opening here. We can do the same thing, a little bit of a twist, or just coming deeper into this right hip a little differently. So we get into the deeper parts of the hips. The archaeological dig that we're doing is a lot of it in the hips. Remember, that's where the different biological material comes together, and those patterns of defense are all there. Those implicit movement patterns, the riding the bike patterns, the freezing when I'm in a difficult relationship, when I'm in a fight with somebody, verbal fight, obviously. Well, I would hope so, right? But when you're in those tense situations, what happens in the hips? Well, the hips get tight, right? And so here we go. Okay, I'm in a different relationship with myself. When I can find that, then I can find a different relationship with somebody else. And it's not a mental game. At this point, it's like a hip game, right? Can I keep relaxed, stay calm, stay present? I can still find my words, right? Using different language, more connected language, all those things. Powerful what we do here on the mat, super powerful, because it comes and plays out exactly in our lives, how we practice it on the mat. When we're ready, we're going to slowly release. We're going to bring both knees back together. Any kind of child's pose is fine. Of course, we have the other side. Just allowing the hips to be super grounded again. Face, jaws, relax. We just have one more side, and then we're going on to our backs. Hey, fantastic news, right? This is easy stuff, and yet it's not. You know, going slow is a little harder. Staying present with the breath, listening to our thoughts, what's arising. You know, as you start to do that archaeological dig, those historical documents come with it. Sometimes images, sounds, or smells. And that's, we're talking PTSD, of course, we're talking trauma. And it just stays stored in us like a virus pop-up. And then unfortunately, then it controls us, but we can re-narrate this whole thing. You know, there's an opportunity when this stuff arises that we can re-narrate this to a story of growth. There's post-traumatic growth syndrome.
And that's when we own the story, but we can't own it if it stays buried. If we're afraid of it, if we're afraid if it hits the air, we're gonna feel pain again. I'm here to tell you, you're gonna feel pain again when you expose it to the air and oxygen. But it's a brief moment, and it's not the same pain as when it first happened. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different ballgame here. All right, let's come to downward dog. We'll talk more about that in class. That's what the workshop is for, right? Here, but we have to incorporate those concepts into our practice. All right, we're rocking side to side, left and right. And again, I'm gonna switch around, you're good, just so I know I'm on the right side when I come up. Let's go ahead and hang out on the right leg. Right, feel it heavy. We're gonna bring the left foot in and forward, coming into our warrior two. Again, a block is great. So the left knee is bending, yes. The outer foot presses. So we're taking our right hand to our right hip, our right haunches, and we're just gonna, again, bring awareness to it. Drop into this right hip deeply with our awareness. Get out of here, get into here. And then we're gonna create space at the bottom and the top of the hip. Outer foot presses, so suction cup approach. Again, suctioning the floor. We can feel it. We call that mula bandha, of course, in our yoga practice. You can feel that here. Calm strength. If you had an animal tail, I'd say suck it in, right? That's good analogy for that one. Our right hand, we're gonna reach it out, and then we're just gonna set the right shoulder, drop back in. Yes, and then opening up, thumbs stay soft. Again, breathing the heart open here, back of the head nice and long. Option, rotate pinky side towards the top of the head, and then breathing it nice and long. So we want to breathe the whole side seam of our shirt open from that deep, deep line. Let the spine breathe you, right? The spine is alive. And we need it to be like a coral reef. But is yours dehydrated? Has it been alive for a while, right? Then when we're in that stress state, it doesn't get hydrated. And then it's not fluid and it can't move information up from the body to the mind as effectively. See, we're just turning the systems on. Let's come to warrior two. Reach back with the right hand. Reach out with the left knee. Again, that surfboard feel. Notice you can move in any direction here with the body. The legs stay strong and calm. If you've been bounced, just like on a trampoline, you can feel those waterways. Yes. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and do the opposite. Doorknobs here and turn open, lift the chest. And then exhale, keep this aligned spine, right? So move it into a line. Don't come all the way forward, but perfect alignment as you press the heavy air down with the hands. Drishti is through the left middle finger. Ujjayi breath. And then we're coming into a reverse warrior. Left arm reaches, right hand finds the inner right thigh. Again, stay lifted to the back waist. Breathe the left side nice and open. Let the left side breathe you. Option, straighten through the left leg. Find a tether line from the left big toe. Remember that deep waterway up to the left thigh, to the left side of the body. Again, nice big breath here. Head could easily turn. Relaxing the left shoulder even more. Exhale, sliding forward, coming into our triangle. So left knee could be bent again if that feels better. Remember, we're gonna flow here. Lots of awareness through the back body. Exhaling, just let the whole spine collapse, like a marionette or a puppet. The strings collapse, but only through the chest, or I should say through the belly, the chest, the head. The legs stay strong. Inhale, calm strength, opening up, blossoming. Neck, jaws relax. Exhaling, Ujjayi breath, coming forward. Inhaling softly through the thumbs, through the neck. Exhaling, coming down. And this time we're gonna walk our hands to the middle of our legs. Actually, no, I take that back. We're gonna bend the left knee, drop the right knee down. Hanging out back into this left hip. You can be anywhere here, right? So each side is different, maybe hands, maybe forearms. Some of you I know can get all the way to the ground. It doesn't matter where we're at, where we're at. We just kind of breathe and feel. Sometimes I even like to sway here. So linear, straight, robotic movement, which I actually see a lot of in yoga, is implicit programmed reptilian movement. Yes, creative, dynamic, free of stress. Movement is creative movement in the body, and it looks very spirally, okay, like a DNA helix, or like a spiraling galaxy. So when you can get into that, you realize, well, what have I been doing in my practice? Why am I moving like a robot? That's the old way. Those are old habits and patterns, and they served us when we needed them. But the new way needs a creative. We need new galaxies. We need new ideas, right? We're in a very precarious and precious time, I might add. We are the change makers. We are holding space for these new creative ideas. In fact, we are the ones enacting them. You know, we have been preparing for these times. This is an amazing time to be, but we have got to hold the space in this creative new way for others. The old way is obviously not working. All right, now when we're ready, let's go ahead and lift the back leg up. We're gonna walk our hands to the middle of our legs, turning our feet to parallel. is make sure you can still reach the fingertips to the outside. Hands are going to come right below, and we're just going to rock forward and back. By the way, you could have if you need to bring your hands to your thighs, it's totally fine. Right? You could put your hands on something if you had a chair and needed that, or to a block or to the floor, whatever we can reach. And we're just going to rock forward and back, turning on that vestibular and proprioception system. Anytime you go upside down, vestibular is like a big gyroscope in the brain, and it goes, oh, you're upside down. Now, if you're upside down on purpose, it's cool with that. If you're falling and you're going upside down, not on purpose, it will try to autocorrect you. And that's a good thing. That's why we need to practice it. And that's why yoga is so powerful, even just practically keeping us healthy and those systems turned on for a lifetime, protecting us, that system that turns on when we need it, before we need it. It's awesome. And then let's just go ahead and pause, coming a little more forward. Now this is where I get a little jiggy with it, a little crazy. Taking our hands, we're gonna imagine sand right below us on a beach. Wouldn't it be nice? We were all on a beach together somewhere. Post-virus, that's where we're going, folks, that's where we're going. And then we're gonna trail our fingers in the figure eight here, infinity pattern, and just feel the spine gently move and sway. Right, soft, fluid, relaxed, shoulders, face. Feel the heat, and smell the ocean. Hear the waves. And then pausing. Doesn't that feel good? Let's go ahead and turn the toes out, heels in, bending the knees, comfortable here for the knees. Hands up to the thighs. We're gonna rest into the thighs and keep everything kind of heavy, maybe a little buoyancy, and just gently rock side to side, twisting from the belly. So same thing like we started, belly twisting pose. Just checking in, making sure we can shift right immediately into parasympathetic. And then bringing the arms out. Inhale, 5-pointed star, taking up a lot of space. Exhale, either through sunflowers or moonflowers. We just bend the knees, either bring the arms down, hinging from the hips, or we can just come to the same plane of awareness. Is totally fine. The key here, what's happening medicinally, we're breathing and then we're moving. So as we lift up, we're inhaling. When the exhale starts, then we're feeling heavy to the earth. We're exhaling. Heavy legs, heavy feet. Inhaling, then we rise like the sun. Exhaling, then we lower like the moon. You know, those are two different energy systems, right? We need both of them on the planet. But when those come together, what do we get? Sunrise or a sunset? Right through the hips, that's our sunrise, sunset. That's our event horizon. That's the creative chakra, we know that. We find that middle path. We find the sunrises and the sunsets in our life more beautiful, connected to that strong creative energy in the world, because it's within us, it made us. When we're ready, let's go ahead and slowly release into a squat. I had to think of that name for a second. All right, so here, can we move side to side? We want to think about this central channel as a suspension system, like in your car. So when we're rigid and tight, those old reptilian movements, we hit a rock, we go, wow, that hurt, ow. We want to have smooth, right? So that suspension system, feeling that here, nice and slow. Beautiful. And then pause. Toes effortlessly lift. If we need to, we can wiggle side to side. Squatting is really good, powerful grounding, right? Focusing on that root chakra, Muladhara chakra. That's our survival chakra as well. It's really being messed with right now. Let's energize it. Let's ground it. We're safe. We're here. We're present with each other. We're connected in such a powerful way. Medicine is flowing. And then slowly release. It feels super good. Let's straighten our legs one more time, but turning our feet parallel. Hip hinge coming forward. We're just going to reach out with our left hand to our outer right leg, gently drawing down. Head, neck, shoulders relax. Breathing the left side spine, nice and long. And then slowly moving back through center, coming over to the right. Now we're going to feel this in those deep lines, all right, past the adductors. So we don't want to force that. That's a you can feel that. It will fight you. It says, no, 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 wait, is this safe? So less is more. We want to learn to enjoy a more subtle feeling when we're coming into, especially our mountain 3 moments, right? Those deeper moments. Sometimes we really get addictive even to those feeling of stretch and sensation. We want to find something a little less than that, not take it to that far edge, just take it a little off of that middle path there. And then back through center, we're going to bring one knee down and then the other, coming into our camel pose before we come onto our backs. You guys have done amazing. Talk all about this here when we come back
after lunch. Well, actually, we're going to come back right after class and we get to go to lunch. That's how I like to do it. All right, so I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. Let's take our right hand to our low belly. Just gently scoop it up. Tailbone lengthens down. Let's bring our fingertips to our hip bones and then slide into the interior part, the tender underbelly, right? Try to suck the fingertips in. We're going to feel the sacrum broaden. And then let's bring our hands to heart center. Just feel the palms press, the knuckles, the hands coming together. We bring right and left brains together, even just doing that. We're going to press our thumb into our sternum and then our sternum up into our thumb. That idea of blossoming, this feeling of blossoming through the heart. I like to imagine a color here pouring out from my heart, right? Like a kind of a flower opening up. We can feel the flower and expanding the color and just projecting it up to the ceiling. What color? First one that comes to mind. Just go with that one. Every breath finds a bigger light, a brighter light in our chest, in our heart walls. And then we're slowly going to release. We're going to sit back onto the block between the legs. Safer way to do that. Let's take left palm into our lap, right palm over it, thumbs gently touch. And I'm going to ask you just go ahead and let everything slump. Let the shoulders come in, let the head drop in, slump the spine. Let the breath be deep, easy, and free. Energetically, we've cleaned the slate. We've created a clean canvas, a clean cup for the universe to fill. And then slowly finding a gentle spinal alignment. Let's draw the shoulders by the ears and down the back. Head nice in line. We're just going to swing our legs around, come right onto our backs. Yay for that. Again, I'm just going to get a little sip of water here. Now we lower ourselves, grabbing the opposite leg to the opposite arm to lower ourselves down safely, right? Let's hug our right knee in. So we'll end just like we started. Option for half of happy baby. So we'll take foot to hand. Again, you could just stay with the knee to chest. That's totally fine. Right knee out to the side, left hand roots down. Option is to extend the left leg long. Your choice, shoulders nice and relaxed. Head stays nice and relaxed. We're just going to drop into those deeper regions of the right hip. Can you feel the right femur bone just settle back into the right hip socket? Can you feel this heavy feeling through the back of the right hip? That ridge of the pelvis there. I mean, we get a lot of problems there. Talk about unconscious tension patterns. That's where they are. The more space and awareness, right, the more relief, the reprogramming can start. Less defensive ways of being is what this world needs. More calm, creative, aware, connected ways. That's what the world needs. And then we're just going to simply release the right ankle across the left thigh, taking the right hand, the palm to the inner right thigh, gently pressing it away. Again, this inner hip crease is a very different area, isn't it, than the outer hip crease? Completely different material there. I'm going to be very cautious with this, or not cautious, but tender with this area, right? Maybe rocking a little bit. A more calm approach to our hips, especially the inner hip creases. I'm not trying to force it open. No, that doesn't work. Right? Would you ever just pull a petal off a flower and say, oh, open up? It's kind of the same way. It's going to be like, yeah, I don't think so. All right, then we're going to go ahead and release hips up and over to the right. Let's just take a gentle twist. Right leg can come over the left. You have your block. You could wedge it. That may be too much, right? Totally, especially if your right shoulder's lifting up. So instead, option B, left leg straight. Come on the outer left hip. Just gently bring the right knee across. You can even put a block there as well. Either pose, our head is turned to the right. Our right arm is extended nice and long, and our right shoulder, especially the front of the right shoulder, is really melted into the mat. We want to have this feeling of, especially through the limbs and especially through this right outer leg and hip, of melting back into the body, right? The hip gets disconnected. The hips are in some ways, energetically, we just kind of, they function as robotic or reptilian kind of material. But now we're an integrated, right, biologically present, emotional, integrated being that we're supposed to be as humans. Well, now the hips integrate back in, right? So this idea of kind of melting the right hip back into the body, we're remembering ourselves, remembering ourselves. slowly releasing, unwinding the right leg. Let's come back through neutral, aligning the hips here, pausing, feeling grounded just for a second. Let's take our left knee into the chest, or I should say to the side of the chest, the rib cage. Shoulders stay relaxed, jaws and face, eye sockets nice and soft. Option for half of happy baby, of course, right? Knee to the outside, stacking ankle over knee. Right hand roots down. Again, a heavier feeling to the whole left side of the body, right? Feeling the left femur bone, thigh bone settle back into the socket, right? Grounding to the left side. And then slowly release, left ankle across the left thigh. We'll take the palm of the left hand, remember to that tender inner hip crease. You know, it might feel good just to gently rock across the sacrum here, your choice. Again, without forcing it, breathing it open. And then let's go ahead and move the hips up and over. We're gonna wrap the legs. Remember, taking our twist, left shoulder stays relaxed. We're gonna melt the left hip into the body. Option to extend the right leg straight, bring the knee across. Keeping the left shoulder nice and relaxed, melting again through the face, allowing the cheeks, the jawbone to really be soft, preparing or ready for Shavasana, which we're about to move into. Can we breathe awareness to this outer hip area? Again, a different feeling there that we want to pay attention to. And then slowly coming back through center. Any final movement that feels good. Hug the knees, rocking side to side, your choice. Right, you can curl up into a little ball. And then let's go ahead and either find hands to the belly for constructive rest pose, or extending the legs nice and straight, right? You can come just like that Shavasana. I also highly encourage playing with fetal C posture, just laying on our side, left or right is totally fine, or even laying on your belly, which by the way is incredibly comforting and calming, because all our vital organs, right, are now protected, that feeling of protection that the earth provides, that gravity provides. And we can explore dropping into our bellies a little bit more. I find this one incredibly comforting. I choose this more than often, or more than I don't choose it these days. Now I'm going to come seated for just a moment. As we pause here and just relax through the jaws a little bit more and the eye sockets. In Shavasana, we have an opportunity to this idea of integration, right, through the body and those waterways of the body, through the belly, remember the heart, the mind, but then also here through the narrative. And so we're coming to our mat and our trauma-informed practices to practice literally being a different way in our bodies. So then we can be a different way in our lives. And not that there's anything wrong with how we are in our lives right now. In fact, it's probably functioning pretty okay, right? But something is telling us, is calling to us, right? That deep, deep, deep soul sense of self has said, there is another way. You know, there's a more creative way. This isn't all there is. That's exciting. Now we're on to something. Because if it's just about getting rid of the bad stuff, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe the bad stuff has made us survive to this point, and it's been effective and adaptive and useful. But boy, what if there's something else possible? That's what excites me. That's what gets me just so passionate about this practice, is that it has this creative potential for our lives to literally carve out the future life in just this magnificent way. So remember that place, or finding a place, I should say, as we remember who we are, we find a place in our mind's eye that feels safe, comforting, calming. Place in nature is really nice. A forest, the beach, the mountain, your favorite place, wherever it is. I know we can't go there right now, but we can in our mind, and our mind doesn't know the difference. It lives in a cold shell. So let's go there, wherever that place is. Remember, this is Bhavana emotional imagery, and let's claim this place with a name. Peace breathes through me here. This place is calm. So now we've done something really cool in the mind. We've mapped a new way of being, and we've literally mapped it in the mind through the senses, through awareness. through proprioception, vestibular, interoception, through the sense of smell. What does this place smell like? What colors are in this place? Trees, birds singing, what sounds? What's the temperature of the air? See how this works? So simple and yet super powerful. This is the place we're all creating for the world. No different, no less than that. We are the creators. Let's have that feeling of creating a new, calm, peaceful world, connected world. This place, right here, is within us. Feel free to stay in Shavasana as long as you want.